Hey budget gardeners, Vita Loki here. Join me today as we do some perennial maintenance. So let's go. We are in what I call the long border. This is on the south side of my house and this area gets full sun. I've already started doing work in this area, but I wanted to bring you along just to show you a couple of plants that are in here because I figured maybe you have some of these same plants in your yard and perhaps you're not sure what to do with them now that they are done blooming or they've gone by. So head down with me this way and I'm going to show you a couple of plants we're going to work on together. Let's start with this plant here. This is called the old-fashioned bleeding heart. It looks so beautiful in the springtime when it was blooming. And after it was done blooming, the plant went to seed. I made sure I let the seeds drop because who doesn't love free plants? And I also made sure I didn't cut back the foliage right away. What happens with the old-fashioned bleeding heart is after it's done blooming and after it goes to seed, the plant wants to go dormant, which means sometime during the early to mid-summer months, the leaves go from a nice vibrant green color to more of a yellow color. And the plant basically is starting to go dormant and die back. As soon as you see the leaves turning yellow on your old-fashioned bleeding heart, that's an indicator it's a great time to come in here and cut the plant down. And when I say cut the plant down, I mean you can cut it right down to the ground. The plant will be fine, the roots are under the ground there, and the plant will flush back again next year. What I like to tell a lot of people is if you have a big plant, just like I do here, as soon as you cut this plant down, you're now going to have an open area or a gap in your garden. That's opportunity. You can take a potted plant and place it here. I might even do that myself. I'm not quite sure. How pretty would that look? Because it's better than just having a big open gap in the middle of a flower bed. But what isn't pretty is looking at a plant that looks kind of sickly or dying, even though it's not, it's just going dormant. So I'm going to bring you in and show you my process for pruning or cutting back the old-fashioned bleeding heart. But before we cut it back, I just want to show you, these are the seed pods. The seed pods like a green color, and if you take off a seed pod just like this and you press it open in your hands, see those little black shiny things there? Those are the seeds of the old-fashioned bleeding heart. And what I like to do is just drop them. I like to scatter them in this flower bed. I'm just going to be using my hand pruners to cut back the bleeding heart plant. And I'm basically going all the way down to ground level and I'm snipping. A lot of times people worry about their bleeding hearts. They think that the plant has died because it's starting to look like this, but that's not the case. I tell them that that's naturally what the plant does. There are many plants that like to go dormant, and bleeding heart is definitely one of them. So I'm just cutting them right down at the base. In case you are thinking of wanting to divide your bleeding heart, the best time to divide bleeding heart is either in the springtime or in the fall time. And I can tell you, this plant definitely needs to be divided. It's gotten way too big. And this is great green material. You can cut this up into small pieces and put this in your compost pile. You usually find the old-fashioned bleeding heart in a shade garden. I have this plant out here where it definitely gets quite a bit of sun. And the plant does absolutely fine. But I would like to add it in some of the shadier parts of my yard. So I am planning on coming in this fall and dividing the plant into a bunch of smaller pieces. Most perennials, in fact, want to be divided every 3 to 5 years in order for them to remain vigorous. And as much as this plant put on a great show for me this spring, I did feel that it didn't put on as great of a show as it did last year. And I really think it's because the plant needs to and wants to be divided. I tell you, doing a job like this is so satisfying. And this time of year, a lot of perennials require maintenance. It's just part of gardening, keeping up with the maintenance part of it. One of the reasons why I like to scatter the seeds right below the plant is so that I can get a lot more freebie plants next year. Many perennials, and I believe bleeding heart is one of them, require what's called a cold stratification period. And I prefer a lot of times to just scatter the seeds and let them germinate in place. But you could also collect the seeds and you could winter sow them, or you could also put the seeds in your refrigerator for a period of time and then start your plants that way. But one thing to know is bleeding hearts do not like to have their roots disturbed. So just keep that in mind. I prefer to transplant small plants when they're a nice small little size. The bigger the plant, the harder it is to transplant it. A question that I get asked often is, when you collect seeds off of a plant, will it come true to the parent plant? And it really depends on the plant. When it comes to bleeding heart, it should come true to the parent plant. I can't wait to show you how this area looks like once we have this plant fully cut back. And you'll know what I mean, that it's going to be this big open area that's screaming for having a container pot put in its place. Okay, you ready? I'm going to show you what it looks like. That's the big area that we just opened up. See what I mean? That would be a great place to put a container pot. And now we have some great material for the compost bin after I've cut it up into small pieces. Another plant that I have a lot of in my yard is Stella daylily. And this is the time of year when it's putting on a spectacular show. Look how pretty the yellow flowers look on this daylily. Not all daylilies are created equally. Some bloom early in the season, some mid-season, some late season. Some are taller, some are shorter. There's ones with different colors. When it comes to the Stella daylily, it is one of many daylilies that's considered a reblooming daylily. What that means is, as the name suggests, the plant will rebloom for you a number of times during the growing season. But it will only do that if you give it the proper care. If you don't give it any care at all, yeah, it might still put out a bloom or two blooms here and there. But if you really give your daylily the care that it requires, it will rebloom for you throughout the summer months, starting into the fall months even. So first of all, if you do have a daylily in your yard, it's important to know what kind you have, and then you can research and look up whether or not the one you have is a reblooming daylily. Now, it's called a daylily because each flower only blooms for one day. I know, it's a little sad, but it's so worth it. After the one day has gone by, the next day the flower is basically spent. It's gone by. And you can leave the flower on there, or you can go ahead and do some maintenance work. I like to come out about once a week, maybe even a little more frequently, but my goal is once a week, and do the maintenance that my daylilies require, especially the reblooming daylilies. I'm going to take you in and show you what I mean. Look how pretty this flower is. It is blooming today. Tomorrow it will have gone by and it will be a spent bloom. What I mean by a spent bloom is a bloom that's gone by, like this one here. These right here are examples of flower buds. They should be blooming for us sometime in the near future. This guy right here, I think it's going to bloom tomorrow. Maintenance that I like to do is to come in and remove blossoms as soon as they've gone by. And when it comes to pulling it off, you don't want to just pull it right off. You want to actually try to snap it off. And the reason is, right at the end of the flower is where the seed pod is being created. So for that reason, I want to go ahead and I want to not only pull this part off, but I want to pull the thing behind it off as well. That is the seed pod. So just by pulling the bloom off and leaving the seed pod there, we're basically telling the plant, we're done, you don't need to bloom anymore for us. But we do want it to bloom for us. So when you remove that spent flower, it's important to also remove this little guy right here. This example here, we have a flower that's gone by, and you can see we have a seed pod being created here, and we have another seed pod being created there. That's it. There is nothing else that is of value on this stem here, which is also referred to as a scape on a daylily. But I'm just going to call this a stem, and we're going to follow the stem all the way down to the bottom of the plant, and we're going to cut. So it's important to get the whole entire stem as well as the spent bloom and any sort of seed pods on there. And here's an example of basically nothing. There's nothing left on here. And so it looks a little unsightly. We're going to go ahead, follow it all the way down, and we're going to cut that off. And we're doing that basically to tidy up our plant because there's nothing on here of value. There's no flower bud. There's no flower. And then what ends up happening is our daylily says, thank you. And it starts sending off new little flower buds. And that one is small, but it's going to grow bigger and eventually it will have blooms on it. Another thing I like to do for maintenance is just pull off any brown leaves that are at the bottom of my plant. It's still quite early in the season for us here in New Hampshire, But within a few weeks, I will be coming in here and I'll be checking the bottom of my plant. And if there are any brown leaves, which is inevitable, that's part of what daylilies do, I'll go ahead and I'll be pulling off those brown leaves because they're unsightly and it just cleans up the plant. Does this seem like a lot of work? Absolutely, it is. But I think it's worth it because I enjoy seeing the pops of color from my reblooming Stella daylily. And if you're not sure if you have a reblooming daylily, that's fine too. To be honest with you, I have a lot of daylilies in my yard and I'm not quite sure if they're reblooming or not. So I'm going to give them the same kind of maintenance, the same kind of care, and time will tell whether or not I have any more reblooming daylilies other than the Stella. But this type of job, even if it can be overwhelming at times, I have to tell you, it's so satisfying. And sometime around the middle of summer, when this plant really just does not look good, I can actually come in here and I can cut it all the way back down to the ground and it will reflush with new growth and it will look beautiful. It might not put on as many blooms as it did early in the season, but it's still going to put out blooms up until the first frost. Here I have a beautiful peony. It's actually started to go to seed. I don't care to collect the seeds from the plant. You can collect them if you want to, but I want to go ahead and deadhead this plant because I want the plant to put its energy into the roots so that the plant produces beautiful flowers for me next year. When it comes to deadheading the peony, you just want to remove the spent bloom and you want to cut it down to a set of leaves. You want to leave as many of the leaves on the plant because that's what's feeding the roots for next year. It's really up to you how far down you want to cut. You could cut right here. You could cut right here. You could cut down here. I prefer to cut down a little bit because I just want my plant to look nice and tidy. So imagine if I just cut right up here. Then you kind of have this strange looking piece that's a one-off that's coming out. I would much rather cut closer to the canopy of the leaves. So I'm just going to cut right down here. We have another one here. We're going to go ahead and just cut it down to a set of leaves. The next part is optional. I want to call this a garden hack. Basically, many times with your peonies, you have put some sort of a ring or support around your peony plant. The plant really only needs that support because of the flowers. There are no flowers anymore on this plant. So technically, the peony plant doesn't need the supports in place anymore. Why keep them there? It's one more task for you to have to do in the fall time. You can go ahead, remove your peony rings or peony support, and you can put those supports around other plants that bloom during the summer months that are maybe flopping over and could use that support. I can tell you a few plants in my yard that I'm planning to put the supports around. Some of the plants include bee balm, echinacea or coneflower, oxeye shasta daisy, and great blue lobelia. Those are just a few that I can think of. So if you have a plant that blooms in the summertime or even in the fall time that tends to flop over, go ahead, take those peony cages that you had, remove them off your peonies after they've bloomed, and then put them around other plants. There's no need to buy any more supports. You can just reuse the ones that you have. The next plant we're going to talk about is iris. I have a bunch of iris all around my yard. I have some bearded iris, Japanese iris, as well as Siberian iris. All of the iris in my yard have bloomed and have gone by. Many of them are starting to set seed. I don't want the plants to do that. So at a minimum, I have to remove the seed pods. I don't want the plant to put its energy into creating seeds. I want the plant to put its energy into feeding the roots or rhizomes for next year so I have beautiful plants. Again, if you want to collect the seeds, it's okay. You can go ahead, leave seed pods on any of your plants, and then go ahead and collect the seeds. I don't care to do that, so instead I'm going to show you my process for deadheading this plant. You can see the seed pod, it's right here. What we're going to do is follow the stem down to where it meets the leaves, and we can go ahead and just cut it right there. In terms of the iris leaves, you can leave them the way they are. Some people like to just cut them back a little bit. The big thing is you don't want to cut these down to the ground. The reason is, again, the leaves are photosynthesizing and they're feeding the rhizomes for next year. So you can either leave the leaves the way they are or you can cut them back a little bit. When it comes to spring bulbs, such as daffodils, you want to make sure that you cut those back anytime 6 weeks after the bulb has bloomed. When it comes to the daffodils in this flower bed, even though the foliage still is a little green, it is safe for me to go ahead and cut them back. It's been well over 6 weeks, even well over 8 weeks since these bulbs bloomed for me. So I'm going to be using my hand pruners and I'm going to cut them back flush with the soil level. And again, when it comes to the clippings, I can use this in my compost pile. These plants that I'm showing you today repeat all throughout this flower bed. So this is what I've been working on all day, but I kept behind a few samples because it's important for me to show you some of the garden tasks that I'm doing, because perhaps maybe you're doing some of these garden tasks in your yard, or maybe you need to and you just weren't sure what to do. And by doing all this cleanup, not only does it just look nicer in the flower bed, but it allows me to get in here and do the weeding that needs to happen. Otherwise, it's a little harder to get into all these little nooks and crannies when there's all this foliage that really needs to be cut back. I really hope you found this video educational, and I'd love to know, what are you doing in your garden right now when it comes to garden maintenance? One thing that I plan on doing as soon as this video is done is taking one of those peony cages. See this purple cone flower? Yeah, I need to support it because it should be supported. We don't want a purple cone flower flopping like this, do we? I have a lot more maintenance to do in my yard. I'll definitely bring you along as I work on different flower beds. Until the next video, make it a great day with gardening.